Asian hate is a very real thing that has been going on for a very long time. It is only reaching the surface now because obviously it is without question this virus came from China. Was it a chemical weapon? Was it a weapon of war? Whatever you want to call it. Listen, I believe it was created in a laboratory. I don't know why it was done.
No, all sorts of viruses are created in laboratories. There's nothing remotely nefarious about that. We have viruses created
Correct.
in our laboratories. I think this was created in a laboratory. I don't think it was done intentionally to like get out. I think that they work on viruses. That's how things are created. That's how they come up with things like vaccines. So there's all sorts of things that happen, but I don't think it was intentional.
But here's where the problem, this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is one of the most important topics we're talking about here. There are 14 countries, including the WHO, the World Health Organization, that is calling upon the People's Republic of China to release the information, the data, as to how this virus originated and how it got out, and China is refusing to release that data.
I don't think we'll ever see it, and
I don't either.
But here's the thing that is concerning is just that people will then jump to whatever conclusions, and they have been like, was it from a bat? I mean, there's so many. It's people just are.
So some person basically allude to the fact. I forgot the gentleman. I think he worked under Obama or Trump. I can't remember which guy, but he was basically alluding to the fact that this is not a virus that's being transferred from a bat to a human. It's not happening. So, however,
I never believed that.
No, but again, however which way it did, I'm simply saying that there are two countries that run this world. The United States and China, and you could throw in Russia if you want.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you realize that wars are basically fought as proxies amongst the people who run the show, if China and the United States went to war, it's the end of the world. So that's why this is such a precarious issue. And they don't want to let people know that it's very possible that this could have been essentially an act of war. Now, I'm not alluding to that's what it was. But when everybody screams at the top of their lungs that this is the Russians, they did this, they did no. You see, when it really is something of substance, you're never going to hear about it on corporate news. Why? Because the things that actually affect our lives are not things you're going to hear about. That's how it works. That's the beauty of corporate media.
So I just realized there's two stories up there
that correct.
Are dealing
and
with
this is where it becomes an even worse set of circumstances because of everything that's going on now and with the heightened sense of what has been going on with the World Health Organization demanding China release that information. This Asian hate is taking on a whole new level of significance. And while we've heard the stories about what's been going on in Oakland and various parts of the country, there is nothing that I saw that was worse than what transpired the other day when this man, Brandon Elliott, decided to beat an elderly Asian woman. I don't remember in front of, I don't think it was a department store. I can't remember exactly where it was. If anybody in the conversation,
there was video cameras, so it was someplace that had surveillance cameras. It was some retail shop.
This man literally walked up to a old Asian woman on the street and kicked her square in the face and into the ground and proceeded to beat her. And while people witnessed this happening, they not only didn't help, they decided to close the door and watch it happen. So, a couple of things
here.
See,
that I didn't know. This is not the kind of, I normally don't see this kind of news.
This is really weird too, because New York I'm from New Jersey and, I've lived
horrible.
part of my life. Shut up. Oh, I thought you were talking about me living in New Jersey.
No.
But what's interesting is what do you call it when a person they're like a witness to a crime and they don't do anything about it?
A bystander?
Yeah. How come we need the Seinfeld bystander law to be brought out for these people? Because they really could have done something. And apparently the person who closed the door and didn't do anything was a security guard.
So that makes sense.
So that's even better. That makes the story even juicier. So as it turns out, and of course, everyone, there's a lot of people who don't really in the corporate media want to touch the story. Why? Because it was an old Asian woman and a black man. Now, the most difficult part of this story is the fact that this man was out on parole for murdering his mother. Isn't that something? Murdered his mother. So it stands to reason that he might be a danger to society, and Lord knows, in accordance to his parole, essentially, if he committed any violent act again, he's going to prison for the rest of his
Well,
life.
yes.
So he's never going to get out. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. That is cut and dry. But the fact that something like this even happened is amazing.
I just can't. I didn't realize that there was a whole bystander situation.
Not
I'm
one,
just
not two, not three. Like at least a half dozen people saw this and did nothing.
You mean on the scene?
Right there on the scene, did nothing.
That's just.
This is an old lady, and this is a burly man.
I know, that's crazy.
He easily could have killed this woman. Imagine if he actually had any real skill and gave her a swift kick right to her chin.
And not that this matters in any way, but was this just random?
Yeah, totally random.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it, but no, there's no justification. I'm just curious if that's just random.
And they have the audio feedback of him telling her, "Get the hell out of our country." It's bad. It's bad.
Oh my God.
And this is what happens when you punch down or you punch sideways. You're not punching up. And that is why
we can go on a high note for New York, though.
We can't go on a high. We can go
high note.
No, two things. Because the truth of the matter is, I really do think that New York is ready for a major change, and I do think Andrew Yang is going to be the next mayor of New York City.
That'll be cool.
And in light of this anti-Asian hate, and the fact that it's happened in New York City, and the fact that they can elect the first Asian American to lead that city.
Yes.
I am not into identity politics in any way, but this would be the biggest FU to the establishment that you could possibly have. And it would be glorious.
Yeah, it would. But I'm talking about even better news for New York.
So now, as we transition from Andrew, we're going to transition to, we have good Andrew and we have shit Andrew. Excuse me, we're demonetized. What can I say?
What Andrew? What are you talking
Andrew Cuomo.
Oh.
So Andrew Cuomo, who is about to get his butt kicked out of office, now has a bill sitting on his desk to legalize marijuana.
It can happen.
Is this guy seriously going to give the biggest FU of all time and not sign this bill?
I don't know, but so where, I mean, obviously the fact that it will expunge prior convictions is like the biggest.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
But I really think this backs Cuomo into a corner. It's going to be very interesting to see because he has, like, everyone
he's
is
going to
deserting
have
him now.
to do it, though. He's going to have to do it.
Well,
the majority of the country wants it. I can't. The numbers in New York have to be staggering. I mean, 3/4 of the country supports legalization. Like,
yes.
It's a vast majority of people across the political spectrum. So New York tends to be on the left of that spectrum. So I would imagine it would be even more people in New York.
Yeah, the fact that you've got it through the state Senate and now it's sitting on the desk of what is essentially a lame duck governor, it's going to be very interesting to see if he really has the gall to veto this bill. And of course, every big pharma, big alcohol, anyone who is within the corporate establishment that stands to lose money by legalization of cannabis, they are going to be begging him to not sign it into law.
But I do think that he has an opportunity that is very massive here because I don't think career-wise, he's not going anywhere else.
No.
So all those connections and all of that stuff, it's not like he needs to serve that. And the fact that he doesn't get reelected, I mean, he has an opportunity to actually go out being somewhat popular amongst regular people.
Yeah.
And this would help with that, I think. I mean,
and again, the fact that this was passed already at the beginning of the week, you know how easily he could sign this into law. And the fact that he's waiting on it is, again, I don't know what his intentions are, what he thinks he's going to get away with. But everyone is very well aware. Yes.
All right, let's get out of New York.
Yes.
Let's go to Georgia.
So let's go to Georgia. And this gets back to
Georgia.
And this is great.
Thing.
And this is a great transition because, again, we're talking about the aspects of, exercising your power, political power, and seizing the opportunity when it's there. The fact that, and again, we love Ron Kim, the state senator from New York, the person who basically in his own party blew the whistle on the governor all the way back last April. And they
about
wanted
the nursing homes,
and they wanted to censor him. And he, of course, and he only mentioned it recently. He talked about the fact that he was getting threatening phone calls from Cuomo. I guarantee you it started at the very beginning. Basically told him, shut up, you're going to pay for this, blah, 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 blah. And so now they're in a very powerful position to get a major piece of legislation across. And so what's happening is down in Georgia, anyone who has been paying attention to the story about the, we'll just call it voter suppression bill, because that's what it is.
It's a voter suppression bill.
And now the Florida GOP is trying to do a mirror bill and get that through Tallahassee and have the same stuff done down here,
yes,
which doesn't surprise me in the least. But the only way it's going to stop is if businesses that have actual power say, we're losing too much money, we've got to stop this. So there are people in the business community and, of course, the Black community of business that are saying this is wrong and this should not stand. And that is how you can make change. But there is one group that actually has not spoken out in support of removing this voter suppression bill. And you want to know who that is? Hollywood. You know those people who tell you all the time that they are as woke can get?
Aren't these the same people that were like all go Stacey Abrams and all out about getting voter registration in Georgia?
Black lives matter.
Well, Black lives do matter. That's not the same thing.
But I'm talking about what they say.
Oh, they're very concerned with, but yet they don't care if Black people can vote.
And why don't they care?
Well, it doesn't
because
affect
the state of Georgia. No, that's not why. The reason why is because the state of Georgia gives Hollywood massive tax breaks to film in their state.
Oh, I did know that.
That's why. And one of the reasons they do film in Georgia so much is because we don't offer that here in the state of Florida anymore. We should, because it would be great for the economy. But as you know, we have these unbelievably conservative Looney Tune representatives who think because Hollywood is liberal that we can't have that in our state. So, basically screw yourself for the sake of, getting the liberals, I guess. But at the end of the day, if you can't see that this is I will say this again, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, and maybe I am blue in the face already. This is a class war. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything that you see that doesn't involve economics is done to distract you.
But let's give kudos and props to the Black corporate business leaders that actually have taken a stand about this and spoke out against this legislation.
Yep.
That's, good. That's what we need. We need more people in corporate positions of power that are standing up to this. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.